Did you know that your favorite fake rapper Kingpin's co-CEO was/is a major federal informant? And that all the while spinning his tales of street intrigue and hinting at his own Scarface-esque coke career, that Beyonce's life partner was plotting strategy with a person who kept herself out of prison by sending her old friends and business partners straight to the belly of the beast to get herself out of trouble? Well, that's the story of current Roc Nation CEO Desiree Perez. And as of late, Jay-Z and his Roc Nation partners have been busily branding S. Carter's brand by throwing around the phrase social justice a lot. They produced an elaborate multi-part series for Amazon on the extremely minor legal troubles of Meek Mill. Now, prison reform is a central plank of what Roc Nation's doing, and I guess a part of a personal branding strategy of Jay-Z as he becomes this sort of political figure almost. But I wonder if any of the people that Roc Nation co-founder Desiree Perez put in a federal penitentiary got released early, or if they were pardoned by Donald Trump, a man whom Jay and Bay professed their disdain for every chance they got. I guess when you're a rap billionaire, you get to have your cake, put on the icing, and eat it too. Here's a quote from the official biography of Roc Nation CEO Desiree Perez. As one of Roc Nation's 5 founders, Perez has shaped the company's course at every step of the way. When hip-hop artist turned mogul Jay-Z, a fellow Roc Nation founder, appointed her as CEO in 2019, Perez gained the designation to match her level of impact. Perez, however, places little emphasis on the change in her title. Her focus remains the same as it always has been, doing what's right for the company and for the world. Back in March of 2015, it actually came out, though it doesn't seem like many people heard about it. The New York Daily News released the story that Perez had been arrested back in 1994 for possession of 35 keys of cocaine and struck a deal with the feds, which led to her wearing wiretaps and working deals from Puerto Rico all the way down into Colombia. And it was a 19-person massive indictment that resulted, I'm sure not just from her work, but her work was a part of. Now, Desiree Perez was the wife of Juan O.G. Perez, one of Jay-Z's longtime business partners. We met back in '96, and Perez herself kind of got her start in the Roc Nation family, managing the 4040 Club in Manhattan. So Juan O.G. Perez comes from Harlem, same place Dame Dash and I think Biggs Burke is from, and he got introduced to Jay-Z back in '96 by Kareem Biggs Burke. Now, coincidentally, or maybe not coincidentally, Biggs Burke got 5 years in federal prison for being part of a marijuana conspiracy right after he parted ways with Jay-Z and the nascent Roc Nation that was formed in the wake of the breakup of Rockefeller. In 2003, O.G. Perez and Jay-Z started the 4040 chain, and again, they were introduced back in 1996, which would have been, well, 2 years after Desiree Perez was arrested with the 35 kilos, and she probably still would have been working because 35 kilos is a lot to get caught with, and the case that she informed in had literal tons, like thousands of kilos of cocaine and hundreds of millions of dollars worth of drugs in the case. So the feds don't just, let you wear one wiretap on those size of cases. So if he met Jay-Z in '96, almost certain his wife was still working with the feds in '96, and it'd be hard to not know your wife was working undercover or working as an informant for the federal government in a major drug case. And this was at the time when Jay-Z claims he was still at the tail end of his own, drug dealing career. He implies in some of his songs he was some type of kingpin. So all this stuff doesn't really make a lot of sense. unless you look at it from the perspective of a bunch of people who were informants working together, or Jay-Z was just a facade all along and they didn't have any radar of who was an informant, or it wasn't relevant to him who was an informant because he wasn't really selling drugs, which is good. I don't promote people selling drugs, but part of Jay-Z's whole glitz and glamour, especially in the beginning, was that he had been a real street guy, and I don't see how that's possible when someone that you started working with's wife is a current informant in a major case. She's not just somebody, buying an ounce to get out of some trouble and no one knows about it. I'm sure her husband would have known what was going on. So back to the case that Desiree got embroiled in. The case was actually involving the Perez family, and it was led by a Miami seafood distributor named Luis Miguel Perez, who was rounded up in a major drug investigation in South Florida. And that year, and then 19 people, including Desiree Perez, got indicted for the case. Now, Perez is a very common last name, obviously, and I don't know what she related to these people, but often large criminal conspiracies, whether they're Black Street gangs, the Italian Mafia, or whoever, it's families involved. And I don't know how else a woman that would have been pretty young, I don't know, in her, say, early 20s or something at the time of this case happened, how a woman in her early 20s has 35 kilos.
dope.
As long as we keep our love between us, everything will work itself out.
What's your name?
You're in trouble now.
Are you my man?
You know I'm your man.
Here, baby.
You always wanted to make a difference.
I hate you.
Carmen Brown.
I've heard so much about you. Hopefully nothing too bad.
Mekhi Phifer, Beyonce Knowles, Mos Def, Rod Digga, Da Brat, Lil Bow Wow, Wyclef Jean, Jermaine Dupri, Carmen, the original hip opera. Go! Look for it on DVD and VHS.
Unless it's family business. But I don't know that to be the case. It'd be interesting if somebody could look into it, though I'm sure the records on all this have been well scrubbed. According to the indictment, the family smuggled cocaine into South Florida for 10 years to the tune of 35 to 50 tons. One particular load they knew about was 908 kilos at once that came into Fort Lauderdale. I'm not sure what the sentences of everybody else in the case was, but I know one guy who was just a pilot, he got 360 months. That's 30 years. I don't think Desiree Perez did any time, so she must have did some real effective informant work. More than 6,000 kilos got seized in this case, and I'm sure at least some of it was of the direct result of Jay-Z's business partner, current CEO of Roc Nation, and she was doing all this work right around the time Jay-Z claims he was some type of drug kingpin or street legend or whatever he was supposed to be. Now, if that's not hypocritical enough, the next thing that bothers me is how cynically hip-hop celebrities, who on one hand cater to their demographic by bad-mouthing Trump, not that I disagree with most of the negative things said about Trump, and yet pander to him for get-out-of-jail-free cards in exchange for trying to help basically suppress the black vote by getting black voters to be disenchanted with the Democratic Party by seeing so many black celebrities like Lil Wayne, for example, or Kodak Black appear with him, even though I don't think either one of them was even registered to vote. According to a White House statement, Desiree Perez was granted a full pardon for her crimes way back 25 years ago for involvement in a conspiracy to distribute narcotics. That's directly from the White House. So while Donald Trump was trying to put the U.S. military on the streets, and thankfully he was stopped by military leaders to shut down the protests about police violence against the black population, Desiree Perez and Roc Nation, and who knows, maybe even the Jigga Man himself, was lobbying behind the scenes to get Desiree's record wiped clean, even though her troubles were 25 years in the past and haven't stopped her from getting rich. And I haven't seen any mention in any of the articles about her getting any of the people she helped put in prison a pardon, but maybe I just missed that. Quote, since her conviction, Ms. Perez has taken full accountability for her actions and turned her life around, said the White House in an official statement. She has been gainfully employed and has been an advocate for criminal justice reform in her community. Now here's another quote from Desiree Perez's official Roc Nation bio. Launching Roc Nation was in many ways a natural extension of Perez's early career. She had spent more than 15 years managing and operating nightclubs, including one that she helped to pull out of bankruptcy. My experience in live entertainment and in micromanaging all aspects of a business, every dollar that comes in and out translates to a lot. Now, as for her early career that she mentions, I wonder exactly how that synced up with her work as a federal informant and her later work for Roc Nation, even though there might have been some overlap with Jay-Z's time as a drug dealer. Here's another quote from Desiree Perez herself. Because we're Roc Nation, we know that we have global reach. We have social reach, we have voices. It's a combination of power with all our athletes and artists, and it's respected. Well, they do have power, that's for sure. And when you're working with the federal government, you have a lot of power. Perez never hesitates to make a phone call that might make a difference in someone's life. In one instance, she and Team Roc intervened in the arrest of a young man who was racially profiled when he entered a mall wearing a hoodie. We reached out to the owner of the mall to get the mall policy changed and provided legal support to the young man to help get the case dismissed. That was a great day, she said. Well, that's cool, that's good, but keeping a kid from being harassed by mall security because he had a hoodie on is small potatoes compared to doing a bunch of informant work in a case and getting a bunch of people a whole bunch of time. And I'm not saying drug dealing is good and that if people get caught, they shouldn't amend their ways and whatever. But it's just the hypocrisy of the whole gumbo that Rockefellers and Jay-Z's personal marketing is based upon. And all along, this woman was who she was at a high level, and there's no way everybody didn't know about it. And yet, during the whole time, Jay-Z is spinning his Scarface tales. I mean, more and more it seems like to me, he was just a New York version of Officer Ricky Ross. And as for it being a great day when she got the kid in the mall out of trouble, well, it would probably be a great day for some of the people she helped put in prison if she got them a pardon.
too much. I wish I had a new critic in my clutch. Ooh, we're doing too much. I wish I